This is Partha Sekhar Chatterjee and welcoming all of you to my YouTube channel, Animals and Pets with Partha. Well, as you are so much interested to know about the stories about our syndicate, and of course you must know the history as to how our dog game has been completely ruined by this corrupt syndicate and his stooges. Well, let me go back in history and tell you about one of his stooges who was made into an international dog judge. Well, a lot of you have been supporting him with that hope that you would also become international dog judges promoted by the syndicate. But that hasn't happened. Well, a few that quite a few that he did make, they are hardly called. And even if they are called, it is a disgrace for the Indian dog world. Well, some about 20 or more years ago, there was this person from Bombay who became a very, very close associate of the syndicate. And syndicate thought he would create this person and he would be looking after the Western Indian interest for him. So in the bargain, of course, he had to make him a dog judge. So how do you go about it? You had to have 3 different breeds, and that 3 different breeds should belong to 3 different groups, and then you have to be breeder, owner of the dogs and make them up into champions. So this person only had a few pet quality German shepherds in his factory, and he knew nothing about dogs. So anyway, because syndicate was the person who was running everything, and I was in Calcutta, I was very much into a lot of dog breeding that I owned at the time, and I used to breed some wonderful dogs that over the years became champions. And I was in contact with the most dog lovers of this place. And so he requested me if I could send over a Pekingese. The condition was the dog would be shown in somebody else's name and of course just for a month or so and then returned back. And for that a fee would be paid. So I kept on sending him different breeds of dogs which were registered in the name of his Bombay stooge. And that, the dogs were made champions. And they were, toy group champions and non-sporting group champions and things like that. Then finally, one fine day we realized that that person has become a judge and his name is in the judges panel. And then we come to know that, of course, he did judge a few shows in India where he was very well guided at dog shows and what to put up. Because the syndicate would tell him that you do this, do that, put this dog up, don't put this dog up, and things like that. So he was a very obedient person. So for that he needed a further reward. He said, I now want to become international. So he was sent off to New Zealand and he was sent into the care of a very, very renowned international dog judge who, of course, had no clue about this person's knowledge. He knew anybody who became a dog judge had to know something about dogs. But this man went there and she was told that you must, we'll send him a week in advance so you could tell him what to do at the dog show and talk to him, teach him something about dogs. So the first day when he arrived and he, sat on the couch and then she took out a book and whatever and she started talking about dogs. Then after about a couple of minutes or maybe 10 or 15 minutes or half an hour, she realized that this person understands nothing about dogs and whatever she was talking, it was all going above his head. So then she was aghast what to do, how to manage the dog show. Then of course, because in those countries, this famous international judges like to take on the job of stewardship in the international shows. So she was the steward, and class after class, she would. They developed a signal system. So he was only placing dogs whatever she was indicating. So some people, of course, easily understood that it was she who was doing the judging. Well, all this was done, and then it came for the specials. In the specials, she was not this person's steward. Some other steward took over, and he had to place 2 dogs, the best and the reserve. I gather it must have been the terrier group. Now, what happened was, in the terrier group, he didn't know the names of the terriers being exhibited. So he went up and down and up and down and up and down and went on. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. He couldn't take a decision. He couldn't point at any dog. He didn't know what to do. Then, because in those countries, time is a big factor. So you have to do everything by the clock. So the organizers got very disturbed, and the club secretary went up to the steward and said, "Please tell the judge to hurry up, finish his placing." Then he again started up and down. Finally, he had no other, he didn't know the name, so he said, "Sky blue." So the steward was, surprised, and he didn't know what was sky blue. Then, looking up at the sky, he says, "Yes, the sky is blue." Then, he couldn't explain what he actually meant. Then he started pointing out at 2 dogs. So he pointed out at a Skye Terrier and a Kerry Blue Terrier. Well, whatever he did, finally they somehow got through the thing, and that was the end of that person into that country. But of course, later on, the syndicate went to that country, and I have already told you the story how he was stalking co-judges in the hotel. In the middle of he got drunk in the middle of the night. The steward, the syndicate, started knocking at the doors of other co-judges, which is such a disgrace for being an ambassador of the dog game of India. But anyway, these are stories of the syndicate and how this person. So there's a lot of these judges who've been just promoted by this syndicate because they have been sincere and honest to him and has been doing a lot of services. Well, I cannot elaborate. The stories can go on and about people and people, but I don't want to take anybody's name. Of course, that person from Bombay has long lived the dog game. I don't hear about him. But then he did a great service to the syndicate to hold on to his power and make millions from this by looting the dog lovers of this country. Thank you, and we will come back with more stories about the dog world, which of course are history, and you must know history, because such history cannot be repeated again. So when we cleanse this dog game from this corrupt people, we should not bring back any more corrupt people, or we should not allow any person to be corrupt and destroy the reputation of this dog world of ours any further. Thank you and bye.